The expulsion of the ambassador of the Islamic Republic from Australia due to the regime's role in at least two anti-Semitic attacks on Australian soil was one of the main demands of the Jewish community as well as protesting Iranians living in Australia. What is the significance of this expulsion and what message does it send to the Islamic Republic?
Well, you're correct. The Jewish community and the Iranian diaspora here have been calling for a long time to expel the ambassador from the Islamic Republic and also to place sanctions on the IRGC to prescribe it as a terrorist organization. You and I have spoke about this a few years ago. My organization, the Australian Jewish Association, made this submission to a parliamentary inquiry in 2022. The findings were given in 2023 to recommend that the IRGC be prescribed. And then over 2023 and 24, we called to expel the ambassador. This was because he was promoting anti-Semitism, because of his support for terrorism. So this is a very welcome move, but we think it came much too late. We think the Jewish community and the Iranian community had called for it for so long. So we're not praising the government too much for taking so long, for risking the community and waiting until these attacks had happened. Although it's very significant because it shows that these kind of attacks have been orchestrated around the world by the IRGC, by the Islamic Republic. Often ambassadors take part. We've seen many similar attacks in Europe, in different cities. So hopefully what happened in Australia will spark a trend around the world, and other countries will realize that this regime should not be welcomed into their capitals, that it risks the civilians, their populations, by fomenting trouble and creating terrorist threats to the community. So it's a very, very significant move, but quite delayed.
Despite the expulsion of the Islamic Republic's ambassador from Australia, do you still see this regime and its proxy forces as a threat to the Jewish community in Australia? And what should be done in the face of the Islamic Republic's constant threats?
We do still see this regime as a threat to the Jewish community here in Australia. Just because the ambassador is not here any longer does not mean it's not a threat. We know the regime pays criminal organizations to carry out attacks, and we're very worried about these concerns. We're worried the regime will try and get revenge on Australia, perhaps. So we think authorities need to take a very close look. They need to look at people here in Australia who are associated with the regime. And the best people to speak to are the Iranian diaspora here, because they know, they understand who are the people that we should look out for and who's a potential threat, who's connected to the regime. We think the Australian government should go further. Expelling the ambassador and listing the IRGC is not enough. There should be more sanctions on regime-affiliated people involved in human rights abuses, involved in spreading terrorism around the world. Australia should also work with its allies, particularly the English-speaking allies, New Zealand, the UK, Canada, to take further measures against this regime, to isolate it, to strengthen the Iranian people, the protesters who want to overthrow this regime. So there's many things Australia can still do. And because it took so long to make these decisions, if it wants to ensure the safety of my community, of the Jewish community, as well as the safety and of the Iranian people, we call on the Australian government to take further measures and to do them as soon as possible. The Jewish people and the Iranian people have a long history together. We're the best of friends. And at the moment, this Islamic regime stands in the way of this friendship. So we call in the Jewish community, we want to express support for the Iranian people. We understand what you're going through. We understand that this recent war damaged the regime. It didn't overthrow it. There's still a lot more work to be done. And we want to strengthen you and help you in any way we can to take back your country from these people. So we really want to show our support and thanks to you for all you have done.